to BackYard Bodyworks. I am Robert, and today we're going to be working on the 2009 Honda Accord. We're going to be removing the fender and the headlights as well as the hood, and we're going to be trimming out pieces as far as getting them ready to paint. Going to be removing all this right here, and we're going to remove the headlights, and we're going to be trimming out into here, so this is going to have to come off, and because it's already starting to get a little bit of rust there, so we'll clean that up and get this trimmed out so that we can get it ready to paint. I've already got the bumper off, and we'll be trimming, prepping that as well. Hopefully we'll get all that done today. Other than that, you just stick with us and watch and enjoy. Thank you. Okay, now we've got all the parts off that I need to get off. As far as we're at a juncture. I still have to take the front bumper absorber off, but I wanted to show you the work that they did when they had it at the body shop. And of course they put this piece on, but this is what I wanted to show you. Remember on that last part of the video how this was all damaged here and back in through here, and all this was crunched in and everything was pushed in this way right here. You can see where they had to straighten it, probably put on a clamp or two, because it feels like that's where they had a clamp to pull this whole rail this way here. And these are this is all the weld spots, and you can tell only use Honda parts. But they had to replace this frame rail and this box, and just like I said in the other video, they just pulled it out. You can see some of the damage here and crinkle there, and just a little bit of here, and probably a pull point right there. But all in all, curlers, they do a good job, so I'm really pleased with the work that they did. Now I'm going to show you we're going to trim all this out in the color. First of all, of course, we're going to prep it and get it ready to spray some color on it. So stay tuned, and that'll be the next part of this video. I've got this ready to put some color on it. I'm going to take you into the paint booth, and I'm going to show you the type of paint we're using for this particular project, and my preferences as far as that goes. Stay tuned, and we're on to the next step. Okay, here we are. I've got my paint materials that I need for this car. I use the Omni Plus, which is a PPG product. My preference is PPG simply because of the fact that's what I know how to use. That's what I've pretty much used my entire career. There's others out there. There's Spieshecker, there's DuPont, there's a few more that have come out since I've done this professionally. But my preference is the PPG product. Now over here is this is my favorite. This is the clear. This is a concept clear. It's the 2021, and that is a very high dollar product. I use that on my Spitfire because of the quality. We will not be using the concept clear on this project. we will instead be using the Omni. So that's the is that the clear? Yeah, that's the production clear there. That's the Omni MC270, which is just it's just a lower end PPG product, and I have never had any bad use for it, as far anything bad with it going on. But it is for our purposes today, for production work, the Omni Plus is an excellent system for paint as far as cars are concerned. Now it is the bottom of the line. It's not the concept products or the oh gosh, I forget what the other one is. The higher end PPG paints, which is what if I had a production shop, I'd probably use that. But the Omni, to me, for the price, is just as good. Like I said, I've never had any problems with it, and I've been using it for quite a while, since they brought it out, and I haven't had any problems with it. As far as, it's easy to spray, it's easy to clean up. It's a two-step process, and when I say two-step, it means it's a base coat with a clear coat on top of it. It's not a one-step spray it and done. My spray gun is a Mac Tools, just regular spray gun. It's served me for many years, as you can tell. I've had that since, oh gosh, I've had this spray gun since I first started back in the early 90s. And it was given to me as a a starter gun from a guy I used to work for. I guess he thought I had really good talent, because that's a really nice, to me it's a really nice gun, and always has been. And the other gun that you see here is I use it for, it's just a Binks. I use it for spraying just lacquer thinner, lacquer primer for just, it's my lacquer gun. I have two spray guns, one for primer and one for spraying the color. All right, let's go. I'm gonna go ahead and mix the color, and it's a one-step paint, or it's not a one-step paint. It's a 1-to-1 mix, which means if you mix a quart of thinner, you need a quart of paint to go with it, or vice versa. And it's like I said, I'm not gonna probably be mixing, but maybe I'd say probably less than that. So I've got a granulated cup that I've used for a while. As you see, there's the Spitfire color. I've used it quite a bit, and it's got all the markings on it for all your different mixes. You got your 1-to-1s, your 1-to-5, 1 to 1.5, 2 to 1, just depending on what process or what type of paint you're using. And you got all your measurements on the side as how much you need to use it, how many ounces, how many milliliters, and so forth. For this purposes, we will be using a 1-to-1 ratio. So I will be using just, I don't see it sticking out. There it is. I got my paint paddle. This has got all my paint markings on it. As far as how much you're going to mix, that's what all these little markings are here. Like this is if you're mixing a 1-to-1, you mix your thinner and your paint for that much, and if you're mixing, depending on what you're mixing, like if I was going to mix a whole thing, if I mixed that much thinner, I would need to mix that much paint. So if I got 1, 2, that'd be 4 panels to mix a 1-to-1, half here and half here. I'm sorry, there you go, now you can see it. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and mix paint, and then we will go ahead and get started, and I'll show you the process of painting. Stick with us. We are ready to spray. I've got my paint hood on. I don't have a respirator because we are outside. Normally I would have one, just simply because these chemicals are hazardous to breathe in, but since we're outside, it dissipates quickly, and therefore not really but the optimal, of course, is painting inside with a paint booth with a respirator mask and hood. So remember, those are things that you got to remember to do. But for this purpose, for being outside, this will be suffice. So stay tuned for the next step, and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, now that we have everything trimmed out, we've got color on this now, and that looks good. I'm very happy with that. All the places that they repaired have been painted and sealed. This has been trimmed out and is ready to be put back on the car and ready to start prepping for, getting it ready to paint. The next step right here is the bumper. That'll be our next project. Probably just a little bit. We'll get to this, and I'll show you about getting this prepped up and ready to put back on the car. And once all the parts are back on the car, we should be able to go ahead and paint it, and it'll be finished, and hopefully we can drive it. That includes prepping the underside of the hood, as well as getting it all off, getting it back on, and so we're going to do that today. That's all going to be done this afternoon. So stick around. We'll get to that. This is our next step.